Well, here we are. I have one more video I'm going to do about the convention weekend. That is the 2018 North Carolina Republican Party Convention. And that is the executive committee meeting, which usually, and it was this year too, usually is held on Sunday morning, okay, the day after the convention, the main convention, wraps up. And I first have to say that this meeting, compared to some others that I've attended in the past, this meeting, quorum was not a problem. Thank the good Lord on that one. Praise God. And yeah, it it was scheduled to begin at 11 a.m. The call to order officially was 11:12 a.m. And I will say that one thing that I wish the state party would modify is really push the executive committee meeting, push the time up a bit, move the, they usually have a prayer breakfast fundraiser, move that to another time in the convention, maybe Saturday morning, maybe some time on Thursday, have something really, really good on Thursday night so people will actually want to get to the convention on Thursday evening and not try to leave Raleigh, Charlotte, wherever in the state they are on Friday, in the middle of the morning. And then they say, "Ooh, I got stuck in traffic. Can I register late?" And then you hold up the entire convention business process, So move the Sunday morning breakfast to Thursday night, problem solved, right? And when you push the executive committee meeting up from 11 a.m. to like maybe 9 or even 8 a.m., you can have a very good, productive meeting and not be worried about people rushing off when it's, "Oh my gosh, it's 1 o'clock. I got to get back to Dare County or Macon County or wherever far-flung corner of the state you're from. I got to get back there by dinner time tonight," So that is something I'm going to continue to push over the next however many years it takes for, the executive committee meeting to be held earlier on Sunday and then the prayer breakfast fundraiser to be held at another point in the convention weekend, preferably on Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening. Yeah, okay. So the executive committee meeting was held this year at the Crowne Plaza Hotel in Hickory, North Carolina. And it was just up a fairly steep hill of probably about a half mile or so from the Hickory Metro Convention Center. I don't know why they call it Metro, because Hickory is a little town of like 40,000, but okay. They're trying to play the big city card and maybe compete with Asheville or, Charlotte maybe when they have conventions. Okay. So this particular hotel, the Crowne Plaza Hotel, if you're looking at the exterior of it, this is definitely a don't judge a book by its cover kind of hotel. When you look at the hotel from the outside, the place looks like a dump. I'm sorry, but that's my honest opinion. It looks like it was built probably in the mid-late 80s and they never bothered to renovate the exterior. It's like one of these stone concrete buildings. It just does not look like a hotel. It looks more like a government building. And my goodness, in some of these states, the government buildings look like resorts. Fortunately, though, in your more Republican-run states, the government buildings look like government buildings and not hotels, right? So, but inside the hotel is very nice. And I can tell you that the rooms were going for about $120 a night during the convention. I stayed at the Best Western, which is just down the hill, probably a quarter of a mile or so, and I paid $80 a night. And plus, the exterior of the hotel was nicer than the Crowne Plaza. I know, it's amazing. But you go into the hotel and you're in the lobby area, okay? And then they have signs that say executive committee meeting straight ahead. So you walk down this hallway and then you see another sign right in an exit, right? An exit door at the end of the hall that again says executive committee meeting straight ahead. And then you have a couple more signs that say executive committee straight ahead. And by then you probably walked like 10 miles. Okay, probably not 10 miles, but probably a good half mile or so. And now you're in like the second or third building. And then you finally get to the room where they're going to have the executive committee meeting. And I have to say, as a person who's attended probably 5, 7, maybe 10 state executive committee meetings in Florida and North Carolina, this room was one of the most atrocious and dumpy looking rooms that I have ever been in. Oh, and plus they had no air conditioning. They had to bring fans in. And honestly, the seating capacity was deplorable too. I mean, it was just, you had probably, the size of the state executive committee is, I'd say, between 600 and 700 people, okay, that are on executive committee meetings. Now, how many people usually attend executive committee meetings? About half. On a good meeting, half. Probably, though, your most state executive committee meetings, if you're drawing 200 people, you're doing pretty good. But this meeting, they had 205 people. Okay, that was the registered executive committee members. 205 people. And the capacity of the room was probably right at 205, maybe even a few less. But I mean, it was packed and everybody was crammed in, and no wonder it was such a hot room. And again, whoever picked this room for the executive committee, you did a really, really piss poor job, I have to say. But maybe that was intentional. Maybe the NCGOP leadership said, okay, look, we're going to put this meeting in the worst room we can get that has no AC. It's June, 90 degrees, 90% humidity outside. We're just going to let them sweat it out, and hopefully we'll lose quorum and won't do any business. Maybe that's what they thought. But again, one of the annoying things, too, was this meeting did not start on time. They were 12 minutes late, and I got there probably around 10:40, 10:45-ish, okay? And when you're a guest at these meetings, you should really try to be very respectful of the nature of these meetings. So in other words, you want to come in, you want to dress fairly nice button-down shirt at least, nice pair of khakis, no shorts or flip-flops, okay? And you want to try to sit towards the back, okay? And if you're taking notes like I did, you want to make sure you're using a notepad and not a laptop or recording device, because then people play, oh, you're from the media card, and then you defend yourself and you try to tell them, I'm a Republican just like you. And I've had some other friends try and do the laptop or recording device. It doesn't flash. Just try to use the old standard paper and pen. Now, when you're at the main convention hall, you're going to have other members of the media, and the party's okay with that. So feel free to bring your laptop to the main general session on Friday and Saturday afternoons. But the Sunday morning executive committee, you definitely want to, again, practice respect and decorum. But anyway, I was sitting there in the back, and, when you're in a meeting room, you always want to try to sit in the center of the row, because there's going to be people always, running late, trying to find seats, and the worst possible thing you could do is just have to get up from your seat and let people in, and these rows between the seats are so narrow anyway, you'll have to turn yourself into a pretzel. So always try to sit in the middle of the row. But one thing I didn't like about the way this meeting was conducted is They were telling guests like me who decided to show up early, okay, before the meeting was supposed to get started at 11. They were telling guests, you're going to have to sit in the other room, and do that stuff. But, again, I did the best I could to sit in the back, look like I belong there, and just, have my pen and paper and just be very respectful and, don't look like a reporter. And fortunately, I was able to stay at my seat in the back, the whole meeting. But again, they were trying to put guests, they were trying to tell people who actually made an effort to try to get to the meeting on time or early, that were professional and punctual, try to send to the other room. I was like, no, sorry, I ain't having it. Fortunately, nobody, approached me about it. There was just a general announcement. So, okay, that's about an 11-minute rant there. But so let's get to the meeting finally. So we had a motion to allow late members to get seated. That passed. And then we had a motion to add new business to the meeting agenda, and that passed without objection. Mark Brody, who is our national committee man to the RNC for North Carolina, he gave a report, and he said that he passed a resolution for better debates during the 2020 presidential cycle and for unbiased moderators and better venues. We had Dallas Woodhouse, the executive director of NCGOP. He said that there's going to be a meeting in August, which now we're end of September, so that's passed, for endorsing the constitutional amendments. I believe there's 6 or 7, but all of them passed that meeting in Charlotte. I'm glad about that. Let me say this, though. That day, there was also a meeting regarding the 2020 National Republican Party Convention being held in Charlotte. Okay. And I have to say that the logistics for that announcement were very bad. The meeting was going to be held on the first Saturday in August. Okay. I get an email from the party on Monday, just like 4 or 5 days before the meeting. It was just, when you're doing an event that big, I mean, really, try to at least give people 2 weeks notice, because one of the things I just hate about the GOP is that it seems like so many people, everybody assumes that everybody in the GOP works a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday job, and your weekends are always free. And then they forget about moi, people like me who work in retail. And what about all the nurses and doctors and firefighters? And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that work a very irregular work schedule, And they can't just, when you dump an event that's being held on Saturday, on a Monday right before the Saturday, and, you just can't expect people to magically clear their schedules, okay? I'm sorry, but you can't. Another thing, too, these executive committee meetings, I'm not on the executive committee. Well, I was, and I moved to Florida, and I'm trying to get back on. But in the meantime, the state party really does need to do a better job of announcing when these state executive committee meetings are. That way we have an open and transparent dialogue with not just executive committee Republicans, but also Republicans who are just residents of North Carolina, or even, South Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee. Any Republican should be able to go to executive committee meeting and have access to when they're going to have the meeting, okay? Boy, I'm on fire today. Okay, so then we have a new assistant general counsel. His name is Russ Ferguson. He has a license to practice law in North Carolina, which if you're a part of the legal council, I would think that would be a requirement. And he's also a Republican. Okay. Now, Carolyn Justice, who's a great conservative woman for the most part, she ticked me off a bit when she went for Robin Hayes over Womack in the chairman's race last year, but that was a year and a half ago, and that's an eternity in politics. I forgive her. But great lady Carolyn Justice says, will this person do the job if appointed? And Mr. Ferguson said yes. Then we have a move to elect Russ Ferguson to the Assistant General Counsel position. This is a move made by acclamation, where basically the chairman says, anybody object? If nobody objects, the chairman bangs his gavel and says, Russ Ferguson, you are Assistant General Counsel. And that is exactly what happened. Russ Ferguson was named Assistant General Counsel. Okay. And now, let's see, we introduced the state judicial candidates. Let's see. Mike Lyons of Macon County, who is a good friend of mine, friend on Facebook too. Hi, Mike. He strongly opposes endorsing the judicial candidates. He says the legislature did not do their job. I tend to agree with that. Why in the world was the judicial primary let go of? Yeah, bad move. Then Dr. Ida Fisher of Rowan County, the current national committee woman to the RNC, said that she prefers to wait until after filing, and she says, look, they could die before filing. Kind of graphic there, but still, Miss Fisher, Dr. Fisher, you definitely have a very valid point there. And then Larry Pittman, man from the, I think he's in, NC House or Senate, one of those positions out of the Cabarrus County area. One of my favorite legislatures, very good, bold conservative, says, look, we tried to prevent this from happening, but again, the rhinos in the legislature just said, to heck with you, and let's see, there was a move, endorsements are made by acclamation, and that was approved for Chuck Kitchen and Drew Heath for the appellate court and Barbara Jackson for the Supreme Court. Okay, now the big, really big part of the executive committee meeting was this. You have the race between the Court of Appeals race where two Republicans are going to go at it, between Sandra Ray, who's endorsed by someone from Cabarrus County, didn't get their name, but then you have Jefferson Griffin, who's from Wake County. He was endorsed by the Wake County Republican Party, and also Eric Wilson. And Eric Wilson gave a speech for Mr. Griffin. And he says Jefferson Griffin has a military background. And let's see, he also has endorsements from Craven County of Cecilia Wasserman and Carl Miska. Sandra Ray was endorsed by Joe Holloway of Chowan County, and also has endorsements from Pender County and Cabarrus County. Sandra Ray was a single mom of 3 kids, graduate of the Campbell Law School there in Boys Creek. I think that's Boys Creek, somewhere in Harnett County, about 30 minutes south of Raleigh, okay? She has 14 years of judicial experience and was endorsed by the NC State Highway Patrol. Ran in 3 contested races and won all of them. So 3-0 record there. She has a love and trust in the North Carolina Constitution as well as the U.S. Constitution. And she also says the NC Constitution firmly demonstrates the state's love of God, which is very good, very solid by Miss Ray. Then Jefferson Griffin, he spoke. He said he's a graduate of University of North Carolina, has military experience, National Guard, and a JAG member. Graduated from the North Carolina Central School of Law, and is endorsed by Judge Anne Marie Calabria, who is retiring, and that is the seat that Miss Ray and Mr. Griffin are running for, is the Calabria seat. And Griffin was a district court judge appointed by former Governor Pat McCrory. And Mr. Griffin is also a member of the board of directors for the Wake County Bar Association. You know, it's like contact your American Honky Tonk Bar Association. Remember that song? Gosh, that was from like 92 or 93. I'm going way back. Back when like I liked country music. And then I was about 11 years old, hit puberty, and was just done with country music. And now I'm a rocker, man. Rock and roll. Woo. But I still like the 90s country. Today's country music just tries too darn hard to be like pop music. It's like, give me a break. Okay. Let's see. Now, my throat's getting a little dry. Excuse me. We have something that really pisses me off, okay? That happens, or was attempted to happen at this executive committee meeting. And that is when you move the meeting into closed session, aka executive session. This happened way too much when I was down in Florida. Every single meeting went into closed session. And it gives your organization just a really bad, out of touch, elitist feel to, you know, your base. And any Republican who's actually concerned with the party process, it just even people who are now Republicans or not even political, it just makes you look like a bunch of asses. I'm sorry, but you know, I have to call out Charles Hellwig, who made this just heinous, ridiculous motion to move into closed session, and then the guy who seconded it, I'm lost for words. Jim Womack. He seconded the motion to move into closed session. Why, Jim? Why would you do this? You ran such a good campaign in 2017 for NC chairman. You ran on transparency, openness, honesty, and then you do crap like this. Really, Jim? Really? What are you thinking? And another thing, too, I'll say about Mr. Womack is I sent him a friend request back spring of 2017 when he was running, okay? And I sent him a request, and, well, I looked him up first on Facebook, and we have like 65 mutual friends. I'm like, okay, he's gonna accept my friend request. I just know it, you know? Because there's so many Republicans in this state that I've never met. But you know what? If we have 50, 60 mutual friends, heck yeah, I'm going to friend them. And 99% of the time, they're going to friend me back. And you know what? Great. We build community, even if we haven't met each other. But you know what Jim Womack did? He denied my friend request. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, denied with a capital D. So now, if he decides to run again for state chairman, I just don't know if I can vote for him. I might have to vote for Robin Hayes. I know. I can't believe it either. It's stunning to me. I just don't know. And yeah, I'm still pissed about what he did 4 months later. It's like, okay. Excuse me. Now, he did retract it. They both retract the motion, but still, the fact that they made it, it's just a bunch of bull. You know? Okay. So then the vote was taken for who would get the endorsement, okay, of the NCGOP. And they brought the electronic voting devices, and Mr. Griffin won by a margin of 73% to 27%. Okay. The next thing on the list, the agenda, I think, let's see, we did judicial election, assistant general counsel. Okay. We have a Respect NCGOP Executive Committee statewide judicial endorsements. This is from Chairman Robin Hayes, and it's very important. And it's pretty brief, too, and to the point. So I'm going to go ahead, if you don't mind, I'm going to read the whole thing, okay? I promise it's not boring. Okay, stick with me here. Okay, said whereas in 2018 there are no primaries for judicial elections. In the November election, judicial candidates will be identified by party. However, multiple Republicans and Democrats can be on the ballot for the same race. Whereas the 2018 North Carolina Republican Party State Convention changed the plan organization to allow the NCGOP Executive Committee to endorse a single Republican candidate in all of the 2018 statewide judicial races beginning on Sunday, June 10th, 2018. Whereas, after careful debate and deliberation, the Executive Committee did in fact endorse in statewide judicial races, whereas non-endorsed Republicans interested in seeking a position on the North Carolina State Supreme Court or the North Carolina State Court of Appeals should respect the Executive Committee's decision and decline to file in a statewide judicial race, whereas it is not in the best interest of the North Carolina Republican Party to have multiple Republican candidates on the ballot in statewide judicial races in the fall of 2018, even if all the candidates are fully qualified to serve the people of North Carolina. Therefore, be it resolved, the North Carolina Republican Party's State Executive Committee asks that all Republicans respect the committee's endorsements and the endorsement process. Therefore, be it further resolved, non-endorsed Republicans should seek other ways to use their talents and skills to help Republicans and our state, and should decline to file in the 2018 statewide judicial races. Okay. We have Representative Michael Speciale from the New Bern area, state legislature from the New Bern area. And he basically said the bottom two portions of this resolution are about as un-American as you can get, and we're telling people to go play for the other team. So let me read those paragraphs to you again. It said, therefore be it resolved, the North Carolina Republican Party State Executive Committee asks that all Republicans respect the committee's endorsements and the endorsement process. Therefore, be it further resolved, non-endorsed Republicans should seek other ways to use their talents and skills to help Republicans and our state, and should decline to file in the 2018 statewide judicial races. Now, I'd say Speciale, he has a little bit of a point, but I support this resolution. Okay, look, I'm pretty darn ticked off that the legislature, which, by the way, supermajority Republicans legislature, they made a very, very piss poor mistake where they did away with judicial primaries. Okay, so basically what you have now is you in the Ray Griffin race. Okay, Griffin was endorsed by the executive committee of the party, which was about 200, 250 people, okay? But it could be 600, 700, but 250 was about what was present all that back in June, okay? A vote was taken of 200 people, whereas in a judicial primary, it's statewide. Any Republicans or even unaffiliated, they can vote, they could have had the opportunity to vote for Ray or Griffin, but they did not. However, okay, so the legislature made a mistake to do away with judicial primaries, okay? However, you've created a situation now where Sandra Ray has filed, okay? So you have two Republicans, and then you have one going up against one Democrat. So therefore, you can see where it could be a problem where the vote is split among Republicans, okay? If the Republicans get 55% of the vote, but Ray gets 27, and then Griffin gets 28, but the Democrat gets 45%, yeah, you can probably see why I agree with this resolution. Because the Democrat will win and the Republicans split the vote, okay? And, yeah, but, I mean, I like Michael Speciale a lot as a politician, but have to go with Robin Hayes on this one. Okay, again, I don't like what the legislature did, but this is what we have now, and we just have to deal with what we have. And, when you go to the polls, some of you like early voting. I like early voting. So probably about the next 2 to 3 weeks, you need to go and vote for, you're going to have two Republicans running for the state Supreme Court. Barbara Jackson, who is a wonderful, outstanding conservative, versus Chris Anglin, who is a Republican, but he's a rhino, okay? And all his people, he's in that Roy Cooper circle of friends, okay? So, yeah, changed his party affiliation like a week before filing, okay? So you have to vote for Barbara Jackson. And then, look, I really want Sandra Ray to win the endorsement, but she did not, okay? But look, you have to vote for Jefferson Griffin because, again, we do not want to lose a court seat because of split vote, okay? That's just how I feel. Okay, let's see. Then we have Mr. Ramsey, not Dave Ramsey, but somebody named last name of Ramsey from Caldwell County. To say that, we passed this change, the plan of organization change at convention, so we don't fight with ourselves. In the vote on the Robin Hayes resolution, which was titled Respect NCGOP Executive Committee Statewide Judicial Endorsements, was a landslide. 73% to 20. 73% support the Hayes resolution, 27% do not. Okay. Then, let's see, we have Mark from Surrey County. He made a motion to instruct the NCGOP leadership, aka the staff, to hold conventions and executive committee meetings in pro-Second Amendment locations. And right at the time he presented the motion, there was a motion to adjourn, but it was denied. Yes. And then Mark goes on and says, look, we just held a Second Amendment gala in an anti-Second Amendment location. He also said Moms Demand Action. That's a group that's against the Second Amendment. Actually, they had a booth in the exhibit hall of the state GOP convention. And, nobody from the party leadership had any comment on that either. Very weird. Okay. And then we had a motion to adjourn, which was denied again. Yay! And somebody from the meeting in the crowd said, look, if you want to go, then leave. And I completely agree. It just don't, it just makes things unfair for those of us who actually want to be at the executive committee meeting. You're trying to shove your short meeting, get out of here as soon as possible agenda. Honey, nah. I ain't going to have it, and many of my fellow Republicans aren't going to have that crap either, okay? But this motion to hold conventions in a pro-Second Amendment location passed very solidly, 84% to 16%. Yay! Okay. Let's see. And then somebody brought up that the fact that Chairman Hayes told a delegate he could not present a resolution at executive committee meeting. I just, really, Robin? Come on, man. No resolutions, only one on the judicial elections. So what the meeting, the delegates at the meeting did was there was a motion to suspend the rules, which you need a 2/3 majority, okay, and only 46% agreed to the motion to suspend the rules. 54% did not, and 2/3 was not present, unfortunately. And then we had a motion to adjourn, okay, and at that time, then there was the chair allowed a vote, and it was pretty overwhelming that they adjourned at 1:12 p.m. on that Sunday, June 10th. So it was a 2-hour meeting. It was a fairly productive meeting, and we had like 2 or 3 motions to adjourn that were turned down, I'm very happy to say. And I thought that, and this was actually the first Sunday executive committee meeting that Billy Miller presided over, because usually he's a pastor in the Charlotte area. He has a church down there somewhere. One of these days we can go down there and check it out, because I really, 90% of the time, I think he does a really fine, good job of being a parliamentarian and chairman at these conventions and executive committee meetings. Does a really fine job most of the time. And yeah, I like to check him out. So this is the first meeting that Billy Miller presided over on Sunday, which was very good, because in years past you've had David Lewis did it in 2012, and he was very good too, very fair to everybody. But in 2013 you had Phil Strack, and the first couple of years I had known Phil Strack as somebody who did executive committee meetings in the past, and also spoke to a group of us when I was living in Wilmington, the Wilmington area down in Brunswick County, about parliamentary procedure. He was very good. Unfortunately, Charlotte in 2013, he, for whatever reason it was, just was really very, it felt like he had been coached before the meeting, and that the establishment was telling him, look, you need to get this meeting done as ASAP, as fast as you can. Don't listen to anybody. Ram through our agenda. And he listened to the establishment, had an awful meeting, okay, and just, But Billy Miller, for the 2018 Executive Committee meeting on Sunday, June 10th, 2018, the day after the state convention, Billy Miller, you, sir, did a very, very good professional job. And I salute you. So, I will wrap up by saying this. For the Conservative Pelican, I'm Bobby Crawford. Thanks for watching.